Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuc,
David Nguyen.
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in any market. Today, we've got a really special guest, somebody really near and dear to me, my personal mentor, a 30-year vet in the mortgage industry. This guy's been branch manager. He's a coach. This guy does it all. We've got Rick Koenig from the Mortgage Marketing Animals and Carl White's Mortgage Marketing Animals. And Rick, we're really, really excited to have you here on the show today. We know who you are. We love you, Coach. But tell our viewers a little bit about you, what you do, and where you come from.
Well, I'm located in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've been here my whole life, so go Bengals. Depending on what day this comes out, we're either playing for the AFC
Go
Championship
Cowboys.
or even the Super Bowl. So maybe we could meet your Cowboys. But
Let's go.
The mortgage industry was my second career. I got in around age 32. I left a pretty incredible family business that was involved in the building industry and went to work for my best friend. And after 9 years there, got recruited away to run a company, grew one company, jumped to another company and was in their national division for the builders. And then the world collapsed like in 2007, 2008. I got very lucky, found a great small company out of Michigan, helped grow them from about a $250 million company to about a $1.4 billion company. And then, things happen. You make a little bit too much money. People don't think you're working hard enough to make that kind of money and they get jealous. Some great things happened. I went with another company for 3 years. They had a nice 3-year run. And then I ended up with Carl White and started doing some work for Carl, a little recruiting for the company that he works for, and started doing some coaching. And back in March of 2022, I turned 62 years old, and I kind of hit a lot of my goals. And I said, you know what, I'm done with the rat race. I want to go full time coaching. And God bless Carl. He said, how many people you want to help coach? And so that's how you and I met. And so I've been coaching. I guess
Love it.
I'll start heading in my third year here soon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you really have done it all. And you mentioned Carl White. I know who Carl White is, and Carl's also one of our mentors here. We're marketing animals. In fact, David and I are both Freedom Club members. Some of our viewers probably don't know what that means, but Carl's taught us a lot about what we do in our business to create this great success. Let's give Carl a shameless plug here, right? Let's, in his true fashion, throw a little plug out there for the marketing animals.
Well, I tell you what, the marketing animals, I think, is more important today in the marketplace than it's ever been before. We're in the middle of a kind of a downturn in the market for a lot of people. People are unsure about what's going to happen in the future. But the things that Carl started teaching years ago is the same today. We've got better technology, we've got better tools, we've got a lot of better things, but it all starts with picking up a telephone and establishing relationships with what we call qualified real estate agents.
Qualified agents.
And, gosh, of anybody that I coach, you're one of the people that has embraced that concept more than anybody out there and taught it to your team. So, being invited to come onto your show here is pretty cool because I brag about you all the time.
Well, you're too kind. You're too kind. We're just taking all this stuff that we're learning and we're putting it to action. I mean, one of the things you mentioned, downturn in the mortgage industry, but it doesn't have to be, right? It's whether or not you're willing to do the activity that's going to generate and create that success. And what I love about Carl's process and what you're training us here, Coach Rick, is essentially this is a process that can be used in any market. All you've got to do is take action, put it to work, and if you coach your team and develop your team, you can have great success in any market. All you got to do is just do the work, right? And some people I think out there, they got lazy over the last couple of years. Loans were kind of falling from the sky. You could walk out your front door and trip over a loan. Oh, there's another one, right? But the market's changed a little bit. Rates have changed and people started to kind of freeze up and so now they're looking for answers. And I see more and more people joining the marketing animals on the Breakfast Club calls. Every single morning I jump on there. I know, David, you get on there too.
I do.
we start our day off with a daily dose of motivation brought to you. And that's the Loan Officer Breakfast Club. It's hosted by Frank Garay, but Coach, you're on there all the time. You've got Steve Kyles, who gets on there, Magic Mike, who gets on there. We've got Kristen on there. And of course, the great Carl White graces us with his wisdom from time to time. And, we're teaching people, they're teaching people, how to find that great success. Well, there is uncertainty in their world. But again, I think, David, I mean, are we having trouble finding success right now?
No. In fact, my team is thriving. Yeah, we're expected to have our best year ever this year. So
2023
coming off of 2022, which is probably the worst year since I've been in this industry. Now, I've only been in it a very short time. I'm not like you guys out there. I've only been in
two decades here. We got 3 decades with Coach
I've
Rick.
only been in since 2018. I'm a rookie. I'm as a rookie as it come. But
your rookie stats look better than some veterans that I know.
Of course, yes. And I'll be real frank with you. I owe it all to the market animals. They I want to say they reinvented what I thought was this industry. As you guys know, we were a lead branch. We all we had to do is come in, pick up the phone, and because we had a portfolio of 75,000 clients that every single month.
67.
I apologize. It fluctuates because we're constantly buying, we're constantly selling.
We are. You're
that
right.
number is always fluctuating
correct.
between some number.
Absolutely.
But January of last year, whenever the market stopped, you can definitely, if you were in it, knew something was different.
Oh, we felt it.
Something was off in the industry, and unless you took action, you were frozen. And as you know, Devin, I'm a person of action.
Yeah.
I see things and I move very quickly.
Well, I'll give you some bragging rights because this was a time when, me as the leader of the Dubuc team at Click and Close Inc., we were looking, or Click Closing, we were looking for opportunities to teach our team, hey, leads aren't really doing what they've done in the past, and we've got to find another way to do business. You actually put that to action. You went out, you actually started listening, and you're the one that came to me and said, Devin, there's something going on over here with these guys.
Yeah.
The marketing animals, they've hosted it. Hop on, listen to a breakfast club, take a quick coaching call and see what they've got. And you turned my head this direction, which has led us to Coach Rick here, right? And man, wow, what has that done for our business?
Oh, and
and
you guys, you have taken advantage of it. And think about what you took advantage of. I mean, Carl White and Steve Kyles and Tammy Schneider, the heart and soul of the marketing animals.
They are.
Puts a lot of this stuff out there for free. We've got Carl's podcast, Steve Kyle's podcast, which Carl's podcast, #1 podcast in the world for mortgage people.
It is.
Downloads, likes, and everything.
It inspired us to host ours.
Steve Kyle's the best scripting ever in the mortgage industry. Out there, puts it out there for free. The Loan Officer Breakfast Club, a half-hour call every morning to get your day started on a positive note. They are putting, the free strategy calls that we do with people. It's amazing the amount of content we're putting out there for free. And then you tell people, well, that's the basics. The magic sauce is when you become a member. And then the next step is when you become a Freedom Club coaching client, because we know about software, we know about technology, we know about, what works and what doesn't work. And, when you've got somebody that says, well, it doesn't really work. No, it's not working for them because they're not doing it.
The franchise manual, Rick. We call it the franchise manual.
I like that.
David and I, we went to, the most recent Freedom Club event, and, we brought back, all the information that we gathered. And, I told the management staff, this is the franchise manual, right? If you're trying to build a business centered around mortgage, and you need to know how long to cook the fries and how many employees to have to manage the process, and how much inventory to keep in stock, right? McDonald's hands over that franchise manual. Here it is. This is how you do it, right? But when you get into mortgage, it's kind of, hey, this is what it is. This is what you do. Go to work and figure it all out for yourself, right? And what the marketing animals has done, and going to this Freedom Club event, it's, hey, here's the technology that you want to utilize to really support what you're doing, right? Here's the process that drives everything. So forget what you thought you knew and take this process and drive it home. And if you do everything that's in that franchise manual, you're going to find great success. Now the question is, how far do you want to take that success? Do you want to own one franchise of McDonald's, or do you want to own 50 franchises of McDonald's? And David, I think you and I've talked about it. We want to own as many franchises as we can. We're creating franchises inside of the franchise and allowing for each one of our employees to build their own franchise so that we can take this thing to another level. And we see endless potential, endless opportunity with what you guys have provided. And that's why I'm a proud Freedom Club member with an amazing coach, Rick. You're also a Freedom Club member. And because we wanted to make sure we had a few different perspectives, you coach with
Richard Smith.
Richard Smith.
Howard
We got to
Richard.
give that.
Yeah,
that
well,
name.
you got it's both of the Richards, man. So
That's it.
the only time I'm called
That's
Richards when I'm in trouble. So, well, hey, with what you just said about the franchises and that, I think I want to expound on that because, I want to turn the tables on you and I want to interview you because you have become like a model coaching client. But hey, people out there that don't understand what the Dubuc team and what Click and Close has accomplished. Devin took a team that was closing some 250 loans a month back in the refi craze. They were getting leads in left and right. They're handing them out to their call center. They're closing and they're just pounding numbers. And then I don't know whether you started saying it, but I've stolen it from somebody because I know I'm not original enough to think of this, but we all got fired last June.
That's
the whole industry. I know Devin says it. I don't know who I picked it up from, but I use it.
It's me. No, I said it to my team. I said, guys, here's the deal. We got fired at the beginning of 2022, and we just didn't know it because the pipeline hadn't caught up with it yet. And, ultimately, we started a new job this year, and we've got to change the way that we think and change the way that we do business. So you got that one for me. You got that one.
Yeah, I thought
I'll take
did.
credit.
And so, when I'm talking to people about following the model and learning the model, I mean, you have embraced the model as well as any company out there. Your people are on the Breakfast Club. They're listening to the podcast. You've incorporated this stuff into your software. So, here is a company that closed virtually no purchases and all refis. I know that
We're a small percentage.
Your numbers fell just like the rest of the industry, but you fell at the same level, a higher level, because you were all refis. You guys have taken, with your personal coaching of your team, the stuff that you've implemented electronically through the softwares you use, which is amazing what you've done with Velocify. You have merged the marketing animals, our daily success plan into your daily work plan for your people. And you've taken a call center from a call center mentality with all leads provided to almost a 100% lead referral based program. And it's amazing. And I've told you before, a lot of companies would have quit, pulled the plug and just said, sorry guys. And your company believed in you. And I know why. It's your bigger than life personality. I love your dressing, your hats and your clothes. And we were even delayed on this. I get this text message and it says, "Hi Rick, Devin's doing a wardrobe change." And I went, "Oh, he's never going to live that down." And you can't edit this out. Not allowed to edit this out. So Devin had to do a wardrobe change because they've been doing a couple podcasts today.
And edit it out.
Yeah. But what you guys have done. So David brought the concept. Hey man, these guys got something. And I'm going to do another quick plug for the Marketing Animals. There's a lot of great coaches out there at a lot of great companies. But, the one thing I like about our coaches is I think our coaches, because there's a lot of us that are full-time coaches, really care. And the reason that I'm a coach is it's not just for the paycheck. You can ask the people that have quit coaching. I don't stop staying in contact with them because I want to make sure they're successful, because part of my reason to coach is I want people to, have the same lifestyle I've had. I want them to enjoy the successes that I've had, without the downfalls that I've had. And you now have taken this and you're doing the same thing for your people. So David brought it to you and you saw what Carl White was doing, and you saw that it's more than just here's what you do. It's, everything from time management to software to scripting to everything. So what was the first thing that you saw that you knew you had to implement within your company, and talk about how you did it, including your Velocify system?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, when we first dove in, it was overwhelming. It's like, oh my goodness, look at all this information, and how do you implement one thing? But the one thing that we keep hearing over and over and over again is you got to do the basics first, right? And the basics is following the daily success plan. And you guys have heard us talk about it on our podcast before. David definitely follows the daily success plan. And we've trained all of our team members to do this. But that's basically making sure that we're doing the activity that's going to drive in the business the most. And a lot of that's also centered around great customer service, right? So, daily success plan indicates that we're going to contact new agents every single Monday, and we're going to reach out to those agents and we're going to try to sit down and get to know them and develop a relationship with them by getting to know more about them and their successes, right? We also reach out to our Focus 40 agents, which are agents that we actually have relationships with, and we follow up with them every Monday to check in on them, make sure they don't need us. Hey, we're here when you need us, right? We're always going to be here. But Tuesday, we've got an activity where we jump in, and every single Tuesday, we jump on. Actually, and I should mention this because we brought it after David and I. We went to call to Nashville.
Yep.
And they started talking about the call stars, and you and I
Immediately said that's something we have.
We got to do it.
Yep.
We got to do it right now, right? So literally, as we're sitting there at Nashville event, we're text messaging back and teams chatting back to my managers and going, "Hey, we're setting up Call Stars on Monday, right?" So Call Stars is every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. My team's plugged in and they're making phone calls, and not just to our agents, but to all of our partners, to our borrowers, to make sure that they've got updates on the process, to our past customer databases, to make sure that they know what's going on and that we're still out there and that we want to help them when they need something so that we're top of mind. And then we're also reaching out to all the other partners on the process, the selling agent, the title agent, and we're updating them and letting them know exactly what's going on in the process. And then we're also trying to develop a relationship with them so that we can create more business. But where we took it a step further was building it into the lead management system, right? So between David and myself, I drove, meaning that, basically I went in and I built it out, but David test piloted it, right? The way we always like to talk about it is you got the NASCAR pit crew and then you got the NASCAR driver, right? And the pit crew builds the car, right? They make sure that the car is going to perform right. It's going to hit right in the curves. It's got the right power, but it's also got the right stopping power. And they've got to know how to do that by communicating with the driver who's actually operating the vehicle and making sure that, he's going to have top performance when he's out there on the track. So what I did is I went in and I said, okay, well, this is the process that the marketing animals follows. So let's build that into the CRM. Let's make sure that every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they see the priority of the individuals that they need to call, right? But let's also make sure that the people that they're calling when they're developing new partnerships are qualified people. So we programmed that in with MMI, right? Mortgage Marketing Intelligence, who will tell us what agents out there are doing great business. So we end up building a platform that allows for them to take those agents, look them up, and then press them straight into our lead management system. So they don't have to think about who they're calling. They can go, okay, this agent did X amount of transactions last year. They can see it real time inside the software, right? So in addition to that, we developed text messaging campaigns, email campaigns that are following up with these people, extracting referrals from them automatically, right? We've developed BombBomb technology that, again, was brought to us by the marketing animals and said, hey, you guys want to look at this? It's video technology. We're using Calendly, which is a feature to set calendars and make sure that everybody knows exactly what they're doing, when they're doing it, so they can organize their day to make sure that they're creating ultimate success. Now, after you build all this stuff, you go, okay, this is what we want it to look like. Does it function? So now I hand it over to David. Does it function?
It does. This is where my team, we're the feet on the street. We're on the ground level. We're communicating with realtors every day. We're communicating with borrowers. We're communicating with clients. There's not since we started this process, there hasn't been a day where Devin and I don't talk and
every day
and say,
every day,
hey, I need this done. Can you do it? And it's usually, to his credit, I asked for something that I'm going to expect to be done in a week or so, and he delivers it to me the next day.
Yeah.
So we are, I think action is huge in our world. Rick, as you know, you tell us something to do it. We don't wait a week or a month. We do it that day.
Action forward, take action now, right?
Well, and the most amazing thing is not that you took that and that you put it into a system and you've made it so that it's automatic. the buy-in that you got from the loan officers was fantastic, because, you know, what else were they going to do? They all could have taken a guarantee and went someplace and hoped that they made it, but they probably never would have if they weren't doing the calls and growing the business. But what you did with your operational staff is just crazy successful too. You got the buy-in from processors, assistants, the person answering the phone at the front desk. And I know you went through changes just like all the companies did, but all of a sudden these people are being trained on, hey, every time we talk to the borrower, we ask for a referral, you know, and we taught them how to
Change the
do
way we
that.
say goodbye.
We changed the way we say goodbye. Yeah. Hey, before I go, and there's different ways to do it. You know, there's one that where it's just, you've got them so used to it, they're ready for it. If you got the shy person that doesn't want to make the calls and doesn't like asking, I call it the apology ask. Hey, I'm really sorry, but you know, I got to ask you that question, right? Hey, it doesn't matter how they ask. The people expect it, and we put it in their head that they're thinking about it. So, you know, when we started, you know, one of the things we talked about right out of the box was your acts of freedom. You know, what are the jobs everybody on your team's doing? And you broke that down so fast and then implemented the daily success plan. You know, I mean, the most important thing that you can know about your business every day is, you know, where did your last 10 loans come from? How many people are in your client database, your closed loan, your circle of influence? You know, how many real referral partners do you have? And shoot, back in Nashville, David, we heard James got on there and said back in May of last year, after the boot camp, he realized he had 6. This guy implements the daily success plan, makes the calls, makes the calls, makes the calls. And in November, he's standing on the stage with 56 people and closed like 36 units in October. You know, and November was still a big month. December was still a big month. He's rolling into the year with the most pre-approvals he's ever had in his pipeline at one time. And we know that the beginning of the year is going to be better. You know, this year rates are dropping, prices have stabilized, and in some markets they've come back to normal levels. They never should have been at the levels they were. When people start overbidding by 40, 50, 70, $100,000, you know, that 550 house that went for 650 isn't really a 650 house, even though somebody paid 650.
That's right.
It's still
they just paid too much.
575. So the prices really aren't falling. They've just balanced themselves back out. They've gotten more normal. We've got probably this year, based on numbers from the National Mortgage Bankers Association, and I'm sure the National Mortgage Realtor or the Realtors Association will show it too. This year is still pegged to be one of the top 3 purchase years in the history of mortgage banking. So, you know, what do you got to do? You got to go out and get your share. There's less competition right now. There's people that are still jumping and switching companies. You know, switching companies isn't always the answer. Working for a company that has the model that can help you double or triple your volume. You know, somebody that's following, you know, in my case, the mortgage marketing animals model. You know, so I coach a lot of great companies. I really do. You know, I've only recruited when I was doing my recruiting for about 5 companies in my entire career. But right now, you know, I tell people all the time, look for a company who's following a model, who has a leader that's carrying the torch, that says, follow me, I know the way, and is actually executing and supporting the team to do it. You're one of those leaders out there. And I think, you know, Click and Close is lucky to have you, lucky to have David. Thank goodness I've gotten to know David a little bit by spending a day or 2 with him, and even a night out in the town enjoying a beverage with him. So, you know, I think that your employees are really lucky. And, you know, when people that are making changes, it shouldn't be for a sign-on bonus and to go to the next big company. It should be going to the company that's going to help you. And you have established Click and Close and the Dubuc team as, you know, one of those companies that people should look at, looking to make a change, you know, and I don't do recruiting for you. You know, I advise you on how to recruit, but you know,
no, true.
I think what you've done and what you're accomplishing, and I know you're not done yet. You haven't reached
we
haven't reached
we're
your
just
minimum
getting started, brother.
Yeah.
We're just getting
Yeah.
started.
So,
Well, you touched on something, and I want to talk about this real quick because I don't want to have a ton of time. But you talked about processes and you talked about transitioning people into the right roles, which again is something the marketing animals really helped us to do, is to identify, hey, how do these roles look? What should each of these people be doing? You mentioned the acts of freedom, right? The acts of freedom means, hey, you look at your entire group of people and you go, okay, this person takes on these roles. This person takes on these roles. This person takes on these roles. But everybody knows each other's roles. That way, when one person's out, the other person can fill in. But there's a team on my, there's a team specifically here with Cloak and Close that is doing this, and really is our model team, right? And that's David's team, right? It's Chris and Chris Garcia and David Nguyen, who obviously David's my host here, or co-host here on the show. But David, I'd like for you just to kind of break down how you've done that, because you've got a group of people.
Mhm.
Each one of them has a specific role,
Mhm.
and you're utilizing that to provide amazing service. And this isn't something we just plan to do for you, and we are doing for others, right?
Mhm.
But this is what we do for all of our loan originators, right?
Yeah.
Because we want you on the streets selling and
Mhm.
bringing in more business.
Yep.
We want the people on the back end making those loans close so that you can keep bringing in business, right? And they can make sure that the customers and the agents have a seamless process and a smooth and flawless closing. How does that process look? How are you using your people?
Oh, well, it's it all starts with the mortgage marketing animals. We, like I said, everything that we are blessed with today, Devin, is because of the coaching program and
Right.
because the shameless plug to the mortgage marketing animals.
Sure.
It's they've given us a blueprint.
They have.
How to build a house. And if you follow the blueprint to a T,
Yep.
you're gonna have great success,
100%.
tremendous success.
100%.
But
We're already seeing those.
with just any blueprint, it's kind of like if you look at a blueprint and you've never seen it before, it's overwhelming.
Sure.
There's a saying that I hear all the time. Hey, how do you eat an elephant?
one
I
bite at
have
a
it.
time.
One bite at a time, right? You've heard it before, Rick.
Oh, yeah.
It's one bite at a time. So one of the things that I'll say is whenever I think people go into a coaching program like the Marketing Animals or the Freedom Club, they see all these things that you have to do on a daily basis, and it's like eating an elephant, and they don't
Sure.
know where to start.
Yeah.
Well, our team dove right in.
Yeah. Let's
and
break that down, right? So who do you have? What do they do, right?
Sure, I have 4 people on my team, including
Okay.
myself. I have Ashton, who's my business development rep.
Mhm.
I have Jasmine, who is my loan processor, application go getter, and Chris, who also does processing.
She is a go-getter too.
Who is my partner.
Yeah.
So we kind of have our defined roles and our defined duties. I think that's very important with the acts of freedom, is you have to define each and everybody's role. You don't want to overlap.
That's
And
right.
a shameless plug
That's
to my coach. One of the things he taught me on day one is if you have more people doing one task, it's like no one doing that task.
Yeah.
And I always remember that. In my past life, you had multiple people doing a task,
Right.
but he's right. If you have more than one person doing a task, no one's responsible for that task. And that's one of the things that really has blown us up.
So you've broken it down, and you've got Ashton, who's on the front.
Yep.
And he's business development, but he's also client experience, right?
Yep,
So he
he's
does experience manager. So he's basically reaching out and developing new relationships for you,
Mhm.
setting up coffee appointments, right? But then simultaneously, he's following back up with the agents and making sure that they're having a good experience when they're working with your team,
Yep.
right? Does he do anything else?
Yeah. He also processes apps. He helps me on everyday functions of the team.
Yeah. Okay. So then you've got Jasmine.
Mhm.
She's kind of right. She's sandwiched right there in the middle, right?
Right.
And Jasmine's helping out with taking the applications from the consumer,
Mhm.
helping building those into qualified loans,
Mhm.
getting those files ready
Yep.
so that the next partner can jump on and do a consultation call.
Yep, that's Chris.
And that's Chris, exactly. And so now Chris steps in and he consults the customer, walks them through the process, lets them know what is going to happen, and creates a clear mortgage path, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. And so from that point, what happens there, right? So are you working on the back end of these files?
Absolutely. So we go into our, daily success plan. On Monday, we're calling real estate partners. On Tuesdays are just ask
Yeah.
anybody in our
So you're
existing
just doing the communication aspect of it.
I'm the
You're not working on the loan.
no, I'm not working.
You're out front bringing more business in.
Yes.
And communicating with the agents that we're doing business with,
Yes.
looking for new agents, while the back end of the team is doing the meat and potatoes, the hard grind of work to get that loan to the final table,
Mhm.
right? And you're continuously bringing in new business.
Right. It's like
Okay.
it's
And is that a process, Coach? You've been doing this for a long time. Is that the process that most people follow? Do most loan officers just give it to the back end team and step back out and go selling? Or what do you traditionally see here?
The best ones do. The ones that are rainmakers.
That's right.
There's still a
Yeah.
lot of people afraid to let go. And once you learn, to let go, now you have to have an employee that you trust. I mean, and we talked about this, who's on your personal team. Part of what we do right at the start is we rate everybody. You had to rate your employees. They're on a scale of 1 to 10. How good are they? And you're not allowed to rate anybody a 7, because rating somebody as a 7 means you didn't want to rate them as a 6, and they're not good enough to rate as an 8.
That's right.
So you followed that model, and I know that's a tough model that everybody had to follow this past year. But yeah, if you trust your team, the best people do what job they do best. And if David's job is the rainmaker, then meet with the realtors, you
Make it rain, baby.
and hand it to the next person and let them have a purchase specialist or a refinance specialist. And quite frankly, anybody that's on your team that takes those loan apps, when you're talking to your doctor, lawyer, plumber. I learned this one from Carl when he lost the deal years ago. He lost it to a loan officer who was a plumber specialist. And he called the guy up and he says, how did you become a plumber specialist? And he goes, hey, if it's a doctor, I'm a doctor specialist. If it's a purchase, I'm a purchase specialist.
I've heard this story.
Specialist to take care of,
I
your
specialize
client.
in everything if that's what's going to get me the business, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something, what I've seen traditionally is the loan officer does all the work. And what the marketing animal's done is helped us to break that down and go, no, the loan officer needs to go out and sell. The loan officer needs to bring in business. Here's a back end team that's going to do the support. And I'm trying to provide that service for the people that work for my group, right? I want for my loan officers to be able to go out there and build business. I want my ops people to be making that loan get to the closing table so that we can continue to generate and generate and generate and create independent franchises, right, for each one of our loan teams. So, well, Coach, I know we're getting kind of to the end because we can't run too long. These podcasts, right? We got to make sure our viewers are captivated. Is there anything that we should have asked you that we did not?
The one question I don't think people ask is why are some people not successful?
Yeah.
And the only reason they're not successful is they just don't do it.
Take action.
Yeah. If you have a good plan, if you implement the plan and you exercise the plan, you'll have the success. The stuff that you guys started doing 90 days ago is the stuff that's happening right now.
That's right.
You guys kicked it in gear about 90 days ago. I think your January, February, March are going to be life-changing for getting you guys back to the level you want to be at. And what happens is we always say, it's harder to go from 1 to 5 loans as an originator than it is to go from 5 to 12. And when you understand the success plan, the daily success plan, you grow, in units at the beginning, but you grow exponentially when you get to about that 5, 6, 7 level. All of a sudden, the number of calls, the number of just asks, the past client calls you're still making, the pre-approved and looking people that you're talking to, and you're still talking to agents that David's out there and the Davids of the world are out there meeting.
Right.
All of a sudden, it goes by 2 and 4 and 6. And we heard it on Carl's podcast this past week. The first guy that he did the contract with to show up to Call Stars and
233% increase in production.
288% increase in production in 90 days. Yep.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, and the biggest thing I want to touch on there too, Coach, is once you get that business coming in, you don't stop doing the activity that got you there. You got to keep doing it, as we know in Nashville, and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, right? We don't let our foot off the gas. We keep going until we build tremendous success. And we always do the activity that got us there. And by framing that out to where you have different people that handle the process, it allows for the go-getters like David Nguyen here, to continue to go out there and do the things that is making him successful and never cutting off to where you hit a limit and you go, well, I got here and this is all the farther I can go. I can take this as far as I want to do it, as long as I put the right people in the right places, right? And don't stop the activity that got us here and got us making this tremendous success. So
that's where you really got that name, the Dubuc team, huh?
It's Dubuc, but I do go by Dubuc. I do go by Dubuc. So, well, Rick, man, I really appreciate you jumping on here with us today and, saying all the kind words. We all like to feel good about ourselves. But we did the shameless plug a little bit ago, but let's go ahead and drop it in there again. What's a shameless plug for Coach Rick? How do they find you if they want to find you and speak to you and coach with you? How do they get a hold of you, Coach?
They can do a strategy call with the mortgage marketing animals, and maybe you could drop the web address in there.
But again, Coach, man, really, really awesome. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking us up. It feels good. We like to be talked up, right, from time to time. David, anything else we need to tell our viewers before we wrap this one up?
No, just really appreciate you coming on, Coach. You're an inspiration to us all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations. You guys are an inspiration back to everybody else. So you guys take it easy.
Too kind. Well, again, Coach, thanks so much. And thanks to Carl White and the Mortgage Marketing Animals for introducing this product and this process and helping us create our great success. And, if you want to continue to tune in and learn more about successes, meet more great people like Coach Rick here with the Mortgage Marketing Animals, you can find us at www.realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. You can also check us out on YouTube. We'll be on the podcast network, iTunes, Spotify, and please go in there and subscribe. Maybe hit us with a few likes. Love those 5-star reviews. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up today. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuc,
David Nguyen,
and we're your Real Estate Success Partners. Hey, thanks for coming by.
Bye, folks.